Barakatah Hawa, Barakatah Hawa Shai, Barakatah Hawa, Barakatah Hawa Shai, Waha, Raka, Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS who continually feed us in this truth day in and day out. Double salutations also to the Akim, the sincere Akim out there, the hopeful elect, pushing this word tirelessly, building the house of David by Dawada, fellow watchmen who are on the walls, of the spiritual Jerusalem, who are watching, the events that are taking place, who are, going out there and pushing the message of this truth, this gospel, this warning as well, for those who are of the elect to hear and to heed. All right, this is the Baraka Bash again, just with another short lesson. Now, the last lesson I did, was on the fact that AI is about to take over, a lot of the jobs here in the Jamaican economy starting next year. But there are some additional things that I wanted to get into. Lord willing, the Spirit leads me to bring out this information in such a way that it's edifying to the elect. The main points I want to touch on is the improvement of AI to the point where artificial intelligence now has emotional intelligence, and also the use of machine learning in social media and in our everyday lives. Because when people talk about artificial intelligence and machine learning, the majority, like 95%, would think that this is something that's far off. This is something that's is not close to where we are now. When in truth and in fact we interact with machine learning and artificial intelligence daily. The device that I am recording this on right now, my phone, is an artificially intelligent device which has machine learning. The apps on it has machine learnings. But we'll go through all of that. So before we get to all of that, this interview that I have on screen is from a Jamaican program that airs in the mornings called Smile Jamaica on national TV, right? And this interview was from a personnel from the University of the West Indies. She's a researcher, and she was researching the future changing of the job market to incorporate more artificial intelligence and to incorporate more robots, right? And she was making a point that humans still having emotional intelligence, and that's an edge over the machines. All right, so we're going to play that clip, and then we'll get into some articles to explain, where AI is as it relates to to emotional intelligence. All right, so here we go.
Yes and no, because one of the things that the research is showing is that it's not uniformed. Some countries are more advanced than others. Some jobs are more likely to go in that direction than others. But there is still opportunity for people. What we need to be aware of is what portion of our job could be automated, and then we have to prepare ourselves against that. They're saying too that 60% of all occupations, of the 60% of all...
No, I want to make a commentary on this now. She was making a point that, and a lot of people make this point, that it's the lower level repetitive jobs that are going to be replaced by robots and by artificial intelligence. While that is true, right, it doesn't mean that the more complex jobs are safe, right, which we're going to get into when we bring out the articles, because AI and machine learning is at such a point where it can make complex decisions, that leaders in companies make, that the administrative hierarchy in the company makes, right, and we'll go through that.
Occupations, 30% of those, there is a part of that job, 30% of the job that can be automated. So look at what you're doing and say, can a machine do this more effectively and more productively than I can? Now remember, humans still have emotional intelligence, and they have not yet figured out a lot about our brains. So we have a way to go before they can actually replace us, which they never will be able to do.
All right, so she's saying that humans still have emotional intelligence, right? They still have not figured out a lot of our brains, and it's a long way to go before machines replace us in that department, or it might never happen. Now, this is the point that I want to touch on first off, right? So let's just get the first article, right? This is from machinelearning.com, right? It says the article was written October 8, 2017, so that was just a few months ago. It says the rise of emotionally intelligent AI I have studied emotional intelligence as a hobby for a long time. Until recently, I believed emotional intelligence to remain one of the core advantages of us humans after artificial intelligence has taken over tasks requiring memorization and logic, right? And that's exactly the sentiment that this woman has, that we still have that advantage, over machines, right? But here we go. During the past few years, and not just recently, during the past few years, I focused my studies on emotionally intelligent algorithms, as it is the business of my startup, Inbot. The more I have researched them, the more convinced I have become that people are no longer ahead of AI at emotional intelligence. Yuval Noah Harari writes in his best-selling book Homo Deus that humans are essentially a collection of biological algorithms shaped by millions of years of evolution. Right, that part's scrapped. Right, the millions of years of evolution, that part is just bullshit. But the first part is right. We are a collection of biological algorithms. Right? He continues to claim that there is no reason to think that non-organic algorithms couldn't replicate and surpass everything that organic algorithms can do. The same is echoed by Max Tegmark in his book Life 3.0, Being Human in an Age of Artificial Intelligence. He makes a compelling case that practically all intelligence is substrate independent. Let that sink in for a moment. Our emotions and feelings are organic algorithms that respond to our environment, algorithms that are shaped by our cultural history, upbringing, and life experience, and they can be reverse engineered. If we agree with Dr. Harari, who is a professor at Hebrew University in Jerusalem, and Dr. Tegmark, who is a professor at MIT in Boston, computers will eventually become better at manipulating human emotions than humans themselves, right? So this is the point that I want to stress on this paragraph here. Let that sink in for a moment. Our emotions and feelings are organic algorithms that respond to our environment, that are shaped by cultural history, upbringings, and life experiences. Now, what scientists, data scientists are recognizing is that everything has a pattern, right? They have this big thing, this big push now, what they call big data, which we'll get into, right? Where ESA is realizing and scientists are realizing that when you collect massive amount of data on a particular subject or on a particular platform, you can realize that there are patterns in that data, and those patterns form an algorithm that can be written in code and executed to produce the same thing. So our emotions and feelings, as this article says, is an organic algorithm, because it's nothing more than a series of patterns which we have, internalized from your cultural history, from the things around you, your TV shows, the music that you listen to, your family life, your religion, all these. There's nothing we call it now, creative or spontaneous about human behavior. We internalize what's around us, and the way we behave is predictable, right? People are generally not emotionally intelligent. In real life situations, we are actually pretty bad at emotional intelligence. Most of us are ignorant about even the most basic emotional triggers we set off in others. We end up in pointless fights, dismiss good arguments because they go against our biases, and judge people based on stereotypes. We don't understand the effects of cultural context, family upbringing, or the current personal life situation of our discussion partner. We rarely try to put ourselves in the other person's position. We don't try to understand their reasonings if it goes against our worldview. We don't want to challenge our biases or prejudices. Online, the situation is worse. We draw hasty and often mistaken conclusions from comments by people we don't know at all, and lash at them if we believe their points goes against our beliefs, right? So let's go to the next major point. While us humans continue to struggle to understand each other, emotionally intelligent AI has advanced rapidly. Cameras in phones are ubiquitous and omnipresent, and face tracking software is already advanced enough to analyze the smallest details of our facial expressions. The most advanced ones can even tell apart fake emotion from real ones. In addition, voice recognition and natural language processing algorithms are getting better at figuring out our sentiment and emotional state from the audio, right? So you see, this woman doesn't understand what she's saying, yo. And there's a perfect example in that movie, Ex Machina, where that let me bring up an image so brothers can see what I'm talking about, that movie Ex Machina. Right, so this movie is basically a movie about Google, right? Because the inventor in the movie owns a search engine that 90-something% of the world uses, and they call it Blue Book. What search engines does 97% of the world use? It's Google. I just used Google a while ago to find this image, right? And in the movie, he created an artificial intelligent, robot, which is in the image right here. And her name is slipping me, or its name is slipping me. And basically what he did was upload everybody's search information from the data that's gathered from, Blue Book, the search engine, which is really Google, and uploaded it to the consciousness of this machine. So it learned, from people's inquiries and from people's queries, from people's inputs, right? So it collected massive amounts of data, right? From your social media websites, from your search inquiries, the videos that you're watching on the internet, and it uses all of that to recognize patterns in emotional intelligence, in human consciousness, in human personality, and it itself developed a personality and could mimic emotions. It actually seduced, one of the guys in the movie, right? To the point where it seduced one of the guys in the movie. This guy here on the left, right? It actually seduced him, right, to the point where he felt that the machine was falling for him, right? So and ended up tricking both of them and went out into the real world, So this is exactly what this article is talking about, AI being able to recognize human emotion, right, and being able to mimic that based on algorithms and patterns found in our behavior, found in our responses, found in the things that we internalize, It's not difficult, right? Moving on, it says, in addition, voice recognition and natural language processing algorithms are getting better at figuring out our sentiment and emotional state from the audio. The technologies to analyze emotional responses from face and voice are already way beyond the skills of an average human, and in many areas exceed the abilities of even the most skilled humans. So all those jobs that require so-called soft skills or emotionally intelligent humans, right? AI will be able to do it also. So it's not just the automated humdrum jobs and repetitive jobs like factory working or tellers. It's not just those low-level automated repetitive jobs. The more advanced ones, the complex ones that require so-called complex human emotions, right, and judgment to do, will also be done by artificial intelligence, because they will be able to respond to you, with empathy, with sympathy if need be, with aggression if need be, with happiness if need be, because all these range of emotions are just what? Algorithms, biological algorithms, that have been formed through programming. Basically, we have been programmed by our surroundings, your cultural history, your religion, your social media usage. All these things program our emotional responses. Right? Moving on. All right, so I'll post the article for brothers to read, everything else. All right, so this article now, another important one. How does machine learning improve social media analysis? All right, because a lot of people, when you talk about, like I said before, when you talk about machine learning and artificial intelligence, people think it's something afar off. They don't realize that every day they interact with machine learning through social media websites, right? And through social media apps. So here we go. From voice assistants, let me see when this was posted. It doesn't show, but I'm betting it's recently. Right? It says, from voice assistants to self-driving cars, machine learning is everywhere. We know voice assistants are on cell phones now. The Google Assistant, Siri, Amazon Alexa, those are the main three. Every day, new products, apps, or human or service announcement that uses machine learning to get better and smarter. But because the term can mean so many different things, it's hard to understand exactly what machine learning means when it's applied to a new technology. As part of our Elements of Social Media Analytics series, this post covers how machine learning applies to social media analysis and how it can help brands uncover deeper consumer insights. Right? It says why machine learning is essential for social analysis. As humans, we're pretty good at understanding language. We know how to interpret words based on